Well, good morning, Southern Oregon, and welcome to the Real Estate Show. I'm Alice Lima here with my co-host, Pete Belcastro. We're both brokers at John L. Scott here in Southern Oregon, and we're talking about the housing market locally and all the things that happened this week. We still have a lot of sales happening. We're still trying to get more people to list their house, aren't we?
I think that's been the story for how many months now as we started 2021. In the winter, we've switched into spring, and it's still consistent, Alice. It's not kind of gone up or down. It's really kind of stayed consistently in the terms of listings and the pendings and closed sales every week. We follow that every week here on our show. And so the market, though, continues to have the one caveat to it. This last week, for example, in Jackson County, there were 236 frame built listings. It was one more than the week before, but still, 143 of those 230 listings are priced at $500,000 and above, and 54 of those are luxury homes priced at $900,000 and above. So that only leaves, honest to God, less than 60 homes in all of Jackson County priced at under $350,000. So, searching, if you're looking in certain locations, is one thing. If you're certain in others, is another thing. So, yeah, it's working for a lot, but you got to be prepared as a buyer and a seller in a market like this. So today, you're speaking about being prepared. Have you ever done an estate sale of your own? Have you ever done one for your property or anything?
Not one of mine personally, but I've helped a lot of my elder people in my family.
Yeah, my own, and also have a lot of clients deal with what do you do with your stuff when you're ready to move or downsize, right size, move to another location. What do you do with it? It's a daunting task for so many people. So today, we're going to talk about that, aren't we, with Cherish Tucker from Tucker Estate Sales.
And it's a really beautiful thing to do for your family. And I don't think it's ever really too early to do it. Regardless of your age, it's always a good time to thin out. It's springtime, do your spring cleaning, and you can have somebody like Cherish of Tucker Estates come in and look everything over so that you can be ready. Not to sound like Debbie Downer, but you never know, and don't want to have just like a house full of stuff.
No, and be proactive. So we're going to hear about how you go about doing this today. So it'll be really interesting to hear what she has to say and how we can do this properly without to take the stress out of moving and having an estate sale.
See, and that's the thing is they do it all, and they vacuum the floor and they close the door. So it really is the way to go, in my opinion. But you'll hear it from Cherish Tucker, Tucker Estates directly. Pete and Alice will be right back. Don't touch that dial. Well, welcome back, Southern Oregon, to the Real Estate Show. Pete Belcastro and myself, Alice Lima. We're both brokers here at John L. Scott, Southern Oregon, and welcome back to the Real Estate Show. And we're so excited to have Cherish Tucker on the show today from Tucker Estate Sales. Welcome, Cherish.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So during the break, Pete, you were asking some really interesting questions about estate sales and Cherish's background with Tucker Estates.
Well, let's set up what the thing is. I think one of the hardest things in real estate is dealing with what do you do for sellers who want to sell their property and have a house full of stuff, knowing that wherever they're going, they can't take all this with you. And what do you end up doing with it? Alice, you have clients that way, right? I mean, people ask this all the time. It's a scary thing for them, correct?
Well, and it's hard to know what you're going to need because you're going into a different life phase. So, yeah. And it's kind of emotionally painful sometimes.
Well, it's emotional because it's your personal items and stuff. So that's where someone like an estate sale operator can come in and kind of help. And so Cherish, having you here is really good because this is such a big issue to me. And it is so misunderstood about how estate sales work today, because a lot of people think, I remember I'll do a garage sale. But we're not talking about that kind of a thing anymore today, are we, in 2021?
No, not at all. I think a lot of people think they can go about doing their own sale, but there's too many attachments, there's too many emotions going on, and there's not the know-how. So we can come in and treat it as a job, and we honor and treat your stuff with respect. But at the same time, it's what we do every day. We have the know-how and the knowledge to get the most out of your things as possible and conduct a full-on estate sale as opposed to a garage sale where you end up with lots of leftovers. And we can usually sell almost everything within a weekend.
Yeah.
And that's really, oh, go ahead.
Yeah, go
Sorry, Pete.
Because I mean, there's just a lot there, but it's really that if someone calls you today, Cherish, and says, I'm in this situation where I need to have someone help me with this. I have a house full of stuff. I've already decided where I'm going. How long does it take you today? Because I know you're busy. Look, if you're like the rest of the real estate market, which is a pretty busy thing right now, I'm assuming pretty darn busy as well, because there's not a lot of estate sale people, businesses out there anymore.
There's not. We get calls every day, and I have house viewings consistently. So it takes, as long as the people have already moved out of their house, it can take anywhere from 1 week to set up a sale to 2 or 3 weeks, depending on the size of the sale.
But so many people can't, actually physically move. So one of the things I noticed about your company is you're really, really good about going in with the owner, helping to explain what's valuable and what's not. Because, without somebody, like you said, with the know-how, they might accidentally put something in the Goodwill pile or not sell it for the right amount of money. And sometimes that's the last big amount of money they're going to get besides their house.
Absolutely. Yeah. You would be surprised what sells, or what we know what to look for in things. We know where to research them if we don't know. And you'd be surprised about what people throw away and that we could sell. Like, we make lots of different little lots of things to sell to people that people would have thrown those things away. But there's a lot of people that come to estate sales that count on finding really good deals on the house cleaners and all those little simple things that people just disregard, but everything has value to us. So we're willing to sell anything to make, and it all adds up. So $1 here, $1 there, 50 cents there, it adds up pretty quick.
Do you have people at different times when you would tell them, I've heard different things from different estate sale operators that basically don't throw anything away, correct?
Yes.
Don't throw anything away, right? I mean, keep it all, right? Don't throw it away.
Yeah, the only thing that a lot of people are really confused about what their part in it is to do, and it's to take what you want and walk away. That's what we tell people.
Wait, I can't do that sometimes for people. But number one is that. Number two in there, the family comes in and should take what they want, kind of a thing like that, and get out of there and be done with them, correct? Is that another move that people should consider doing? So don't throw anything away and then have family come and get what they want, kind of a thing, if they want any of it?
Yeah, they should be done with the household completely and be willing to let go of whatever's there. So yes, they should come in, get what they want, and then don't throw anything away. Like, a lot of people think they have to go around and clean up or box things or do some part of what we do. And we say, no, don't. We're going to undo what you did anyways. So,
yeah.
So go ahead. You just take what you want and literally walk. You hand us a key and walk away. Like, we will take care of everything.
Yeah.
So why don't you give us the mechanics? Like Pete had said, so somebody calls you today, you go and you talk to the person, you analyze walk us through the whole process.
Someone will give us a call, and then we will go and we'll set up a viewing to go to their house, which we do for free. We go to their house and we see if we can help them. If it's worth it and lucrative for both of us, then we can go forward with scheduling a sale if it fits into both of our timelines. Then we just have a short agreement that we send out, just stating date and time and percentage rates and stuff. And then we get to work. And it can take anywhere from a week to 2 or 3 weeks, and depending on the size of the sale. But we pull everything out of every cupboard, nook, cranny, organize it, clean it, stage it. We do a lot of staging because we take a lot of pictures, and then we do a lot of advertising.
What are the top things, Cherish, that are selling in estate sales today? You see everything, I'm sure. Just kind of give us an idea of some of the top things that are sought after at sales like you conduct all the time. It
changes a lot. Mid-century modern is always a big one. Danish furniture, that kind of thing, that the mid-century lines. Some antiques. Antiques don't go for what they used to. So a lot of people think they have like a lot of antiques that are worth a lot of money. And that's not so much the case anymore, but we get out of them what we can. Radco Christmas items.
What about things that don't sell like they used to? You've been doing this, Greg, you said 12 years with your mom at Tucker Estate Sales. What are things that are not kind of the things that used to sell well, that people, I'm going to get so much for this kind of a thing, and you're really not?
Some like Hummels, some collectible items that you used to be able to get something out of, collector's plates, clear glassware, china. My, younger generations, they're not into the china like our parents were, and china cabinets and entertainment centers. There's a lot of that are definitely harder sales, but it's better to get something for them than nothing. So.
Yeah. And one of the things that I know that people go through is that, my children want a lot of my things, so I don't want to sell them. And my experience with it has been almost the opposite, where
I was going to say
the family doesn't really want that. What they want is the personal items, the photos, the cool things that they remember family about, not necessarily the couch that you had in the living room or those kind of things. Is that accurate? Is that what you find too?
That's absolutely accurate. Like parents, they grew up at a time where their children, and they wanted their parents' things. But today's age, like people have so much stuff. People have their own families. People have their own house full of stuff, and they're not really wanting their collectibles that their mom had anymore. So, yes, that's definitely the case. We have a lot of clients that we're dealing with that are the children of whose house it belonged to. And they just don't want anything. They want somebody to take this problem off of their hands and deal with it, because it's too much for them. So,
and I think oops, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I think you're doing the family a really big favor too. The younger folks don't have to deal with all this on their own. Because it can be overwhelming if the elder doesn't take care of it ahead of time and be proactive. And I was wondering, what about jewelry, cars, equipment, things like that? What do you guys do with those?
We do it all. We actually had one of the largest jewelry estate sales in the Valley quite a few years ago, and people still talk about that one today. Every sale is completely different. So we're set up and we're expecting all those things to change. So if it's a jewelry sale, we're equipped to bringing in security, having cameras, doing what we need to do to keep our clients' items safe. And then also doing our research and getting what we can or what we are supposed to be getting for it if we don't know right off the bat. We're set up, we've done farm equipment. We do cars at a lesser percentage rate than the regular estate, but we can usually get them with our following enough out of the car that even after our percentage rate, they're getting more out of their car than they would have by themselves.
Cherish, what's the craziest thing you've sold that you ever can remember selling?
Oh, can't think of any crazy thing. Just really, there's just older things have so much more character, and they're just so much cooler than anything made today. So old swords and old Native American rugs and just really neat pieces that you would never see today. I'm trying to think of crazy though.
Or wild. When I did my sale, Alice, a few years ago, when I downsized down from Ashland, they sold all the food in my house, so we should keep the food there. They sold the food. They sold a fifth wheel for me at my estate sale, and everything else. And I remember walking back in at the end of the day. I never even went to it because I didn't really want to know. But I remember walking in at the end of the day, and there was nothing left. Everything was empty. And that's really the key to me in trying to talk to potential sellers about this, is that the estate sale person is going to have it all done, cleaned out. You walk away, you leave what you want, and boy, does it make your life easier. And I think if it's phrased a lot of that way, it makes so much more sense, because you say food, this kind of thing like that. And yes, all that stuff will sell.
Absolutely. As long as it's sealed and in date, we don't sell out of date food, but we do. Yeah, we sell it. We sell it all.
Yeah. Anyway, well, good for you. And I just wonder, so the time coming for this is spring. Is this the busiest time of the year coming up for estate sales? Is spring right now, correct?
Absolutely. Everyone right now wants a June sale. So, which is hard to meet, but we're busy all year round. We have big Christmas and holiday sales. We have it used to not be that way. It used to be a spring, summer, fall type thing, and winter was not included. And we can stay busy all year round now. But definitely spring, summer's busy.
Alice, that's just like real estate, isn't it? All year round.
It really is. It really is. And we've got a break coming up, but we're speaking with Cherish Tucker of Tucker Estate Sales, Pete Belcastro, Alice Lee with the Real Estate Show. We will be back in just a minute after a word from our sponsors. We're brought to you by John L. Scott of Southern Oregon, Rogue Valley Association Realtors, and Guy Giles of Mutual Omaha Mortgage. We'll be right back. Well, welcome back, real estate fans. Alice Lima and Pete Belcastro. We're both brokers here at John L. Scott in Southern Oregon, and we're having a really enlightening conversation with Cherish Tucker of Tucker Estate Sales. And one of the things that's very hard when someone is downsizing is knowing what to do with their stuff. And there's a great need for estate sales. And it's really surprising all the different kinds of things that you guys sell, and you can do it literally in one weekend. Isn't that right?
Absolutely. Yes.
So after you get everything all set up, how do you let the world know? What kind of advertising do you guys do?
Estatesales.net is the leader in advertising your estate sale. We use them, and we also go through Facebook. I do ads on Facebook and promote that way. We take about 300 pictures or so, depending on the size of the sale, but it's usually around 300 pictures per sale that go onto estatesales.net, so people could see everything and anything that's there, and then we're finding the right buyer for every item. And then we also do a Craigslist ad.
So how do you do this during the COVID?
There's things in place that we go through right before a sale, and we sanitize, take some Lysol wipes over everything we've touched and everything. And then for sales, if it's a really busy sale or a smaller house, we let in a certain amount of people. And then as those people leave, we can let in more people, and people have to wear a mask at our sales right now. So.
And do you have to be there in person? If you want to buy, like, do you do online at all?
We don't. And we get questions for people want to buy things ahead of time, or sometimes we'll advertise our sales and somebody from even across the country will get a hold of us and be like, I want to buy that Tiffany bracelet. You're like, okay, well, it's in our sale. If it doesn't sell the first half of the day, we will offer if they want to pay for it and buy it that way, and we'll ship it. But that doesn't happen very often. Usually we find a buyer that's local.
So most of the people I was going to say, I didn't know that, because I know that you take lots of photos, you're putting them out so people can see them. And so someone's going to call you. That's how you do it up until noon if you still want to buy that item. But most people, you say, I would have thought that would have been more. Most are local people then, or from our region then, coming into these sales and buying them that way. But they're looking online, correct, before they're coming.
There is, and there's so much verbiage on like estatesales.net about what we have to offer that anybody across the country could be looking up, I want to buy this, and our sale might pop up. So they end up asking, collectors that want a certain item will end up asking if they can get it. The answer is usually no, because it's usually, if it's that big of an item that someone wants to ship it, somebody here is interested in it also, and it sells here. But.
Sure. One of the big reasons that I think estate sale companies like yourself are so helpful is because you have the experience. I mean, like you say, you do it every week. You could do probably, I don't know how many you do in a week or a month, but I'm sure you do them year round. Is what do you price things at? That seems to be one of the biggest questions that you get is, well, this is worth this, or this is worth that. And I always say, well, let's ask you, because you see that every day, and you're going to know what that price is going to be a whole lot better than I do in most instances. Is that right?
I think so. And my mom's even better at it. She takes care of a lot of the pricing because she's been doing it for so much longer, and she's much more in tune with that side of things. But if we don't know, we always do the research so that we know what we're talking about and we're not overpricing anything, because the last thing we want to do is overprice something and then it doesn't sell till sale day and then it goes for even less.
Yeah.
So there's a really good, there's a small window to hit of getting the people to buy it right then and there and not waiting till sale day, but also not, undercutting your client and yourself.
Right. Yeah. And so you put prices on all your items online? Do you have a price on everything, or do you
not online, but at our sale, I think we pretty much price every stinking item in the house. We get a little carried away.
I mean, there's some beautiful places and some amazing estate sales that are out there. Does it take a lot of people to do this, or there's not a lot of you out there? So how can people? What are we going to do? You got to keep doing this,
right? And we just do it my mom and I have to be involved in every step of the way, and we have a great staff. So yeah, there could be some more estate sale people out there offering this to people, because we have calls constantly and we do turn down sales quite a bit.
Yeah.
Well, it seems like we lost a lot of companies and also auctioneers during the shutdown. And I was so excited to meet you guys because not only were you still doing it, but you're very proactive. And I think that is so helpful in these situations, because people they're just feeling overwhelmed with their stuff. A lot of times their house is also going to be sold. Sometimes they're going into assisted living. And just to have somebody who's so on top of it and so organized, I would imagine is just a real blessing.
Yeah. And I think attitude and work ethic and all that stuff comes into play, but also that we just love what we do. So we eat, sleep, drink estate sales, and just like real estate, I'm sure. I mean, you're always on call. You always have to be there and ready. And I think it's the same with us, that we have to be just ready to go view a house because somebody's actually just figuring out that their house is actually closing next week and they need someone to do an estate sale. But it would be nice if people knew ahead of time what we do, so they could feel prepared also, and we could give them a better sale if we have more time.
And you had mentioned your mom. Can you give us a little background about how this all got started with you and your family?
She's always been into antiques. She's always been in antique co-ops. She now has had an antique store in Jacksonville for probably 15 years. Charlie Stop Antiques. And so this is that side of things has always been a part of our family. And then she started doing estate sales for people around 25 years ago. And I didn't come into I would help her. I would help at the actual sales back then. I would have my baby sitting in a little seat behind me swinging and I would be cashing people out. And, but after that, like about 12 years ago, we kind of became a team and we do it together now. And I think it's great because we tackle both sides of things, the generation gap, and the vibe we bring to sales is not, there's a span of knowledge, and I can do things technically that she can't. And then she's really good at the pricing and some of the behind the scenes stuff. And so we're a great team.
How do you guys deal with older gentlemen who have big shops and lots of tools?
That's my favorite.
That's a great question.
Guys, it's amazing shops and what they have in them and how they don't want to part with anything. So I'm curious as to how you and your mom handle guys who have shops that don't want to give anything up, but they know they have to.
Well, usually by the time they call us, they know what they're giving up, and they're ready for us to come in and do our job. But that's absolutely like my dream sale house is a sale that brings out the guys also. It rounds out the sale. A lot of sales have stuff that appeals to women, the dolls and the antiques and the linens and stuff. But when you have a sale that also throws in some fishing rods and some really cool tools, maybe that are some are antique or some are or not, it doesn't even matter with tools. they're all fun, and it makes the sale more rounded. And those are the kind of sales I like. Ones with shops and tractors and maybe some farm equipment and the fun stuff.
Some of our rural properties have a lot of irrigation.
Yeah, because you can I mean, that's what.
So when you are in the sale mode and folks start to have second thoughts, how do you and your mom deal with that when they do they ever start grabbing stuff back and say, no, I want that nail?
Every once in a while it comes up. It states in our agreement that unless it's been discussed beforehand, what's on the premises when we step in and start doing our job stays there. And it is in our agreement that we can come up, if it is taken, it's something they want to have back. We'll come up with a fair market value and take the percentage commission from it. We really don't do that much. I mean, usually it's something small, something that was important, and it's very easy to give it to them and just be okay with it. It's not a big deal usually.
You don't have a tug of war at the end.
No. We try to stay on good terms with our clients.
Well, and I think that's smart to have it in the agreement because it helps solidify that you are letting your things go. And the second you and your mom step on the property, this is it.
It is. And I have found after a couple of years of dealing with situations that kept coming up it's really just better to have it in the agreement. It's laid out. People know from both sides what's expected of each other, and it solves ahead of time what could have been some problems and just some disagreements of sorts. So I think it's better to just have it all laid out.
Totally agree with you on that. I think that's I've had someone that has not happened, and yes, it causes some friction at different times. So having it all spelled out, can I negotiate it as a homeowner ready to do this with you, or estate sales in general, Cherish? Can I negotiate this stuff down or negotiate it with you, or are the fees set? Or tell people what to expect, because that's one of the big questions, is always asked is, well, what is it going to cost me and how much, kind of a thing.
Mm-hmm. Somewhat. It depends on the reasons for the client asking for a different percentage rate or something to happen differently. And I used to try to appease people and maybe lower our rate a little bit or say that, okay, we'll match somebody else. But what I found is we don't do the same things that other companies in this area do. We are different and worth every penny. So I feel I stick to our guns a little bit more on the percentage rate these days, because I know we're worth it, and we put that extra effort into everything that we do, and staging and advertising and pictures. So I really don't come down on the rate much anymore.
Well, that's because you're a professional and you've reached that level. So good for you for getting to that, So being able to do that's actually a compliment to what you do because of that. So I just don't know as we come along. I'm just wondering what's going to happen. Business is great for you. The real estate market is just, as we talk about, is just going along. No inventory, high demand, no place to go. I wonder if it's going to have an effect on your business, but I don't think it is as much as it may be on the real estate actual selling itself, because there's just people get older, we age, and we move, and that is driving so much of the real estate market as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's what we deal with is always going to be happening. There's nothing that's going to no bubble in the market is ever going to stop people from dying or needing to move. So it's pretty set there. And I think that it'll only get busier and busier and busier and busier. And into it, really. And we live in a retirement type community where we do have a lot of older people. So.
Well, so the bottom line is just to plan ahead, it sounds like, with you, because if people are wanting estate sales in June, well, geez, you can only do so many. So you got to really plan ahead here, which is really And how do we do that, Alice? Because this is such an issue. Where do I go, and how do I get there, and how much help am I going to have? And so it really takes a team effort, not only real estate agents to me, but also estate sale professionals like yourself to help sort the problem out, so everybody's on the same page, so everybody knows what to expect and where we're going. That's where the service that you provide, again, with real estate brokers is so important, in my opinion, from my experience with it.
So we have a break coming up. We're talking to Cherish Tucker, Tucker Estate Sales. Do not touch that dial. We'll be right back. Well, welcome back to the Real Estate Show, folks. I'm Alice Lima here with my co-host, Pete Belcastro. We're both brokers here in Southern Oregon with John L. Scott. And it's been another kind of topsy-turvy week with the housing market here in Southern Oregon. And the stats are looking pretty slim, aren't they, Pete?
Well, week after week, we're March, April, and May. We're now to April, the 3 busiest real estate months of the year. I'm sure the same thing with our guest and Cherish Tucker in real estate and estate sales. It's a very busy time. But Alice, those listings have not really increased. We're still getting lots of pending sales. There were 80 of them last week in Jackson County. 236 frame-built homes are out there. That's one more than last week, even though we had sales of them. There's only 82 listings in all of Klamath County, stick-built homes, 100 in Josephine County. But the demand is there. The demand is still driving so much of our market. So it's the same thing I would assume that's going to happen. Cherish, here's my question to you, is there a limit of what you think a person should do in a estate sale to call you based upon kind of the sale price of the home? Is that of how big the place is, how much stuff they have in there, or how do you judge when I should call you for an estate sale, or just open it up and let people come in and get whatever I've got left if I don't have much?
If you don't have much, there's not a lot of an estate sale company can do for you.
Okay.
But if you have enough quality items that are like 75% of a household left there, that can be determined when I come and view your home. And I will tell you right then and there whether we can help you or not, and who can't help you.
And do you have clients that also have storage units full of stuff too that also needs to be sold? Because I don't know about you two, but look around at how many storage units there are and how many more always seems like being built, and they're full of stuff. So do people have that filled too for you to come and fill out and sell as well?
Yes and no. A lot of them do. They're there usually by the time I get there. They've been unloaded into the garage. So we come into a lot of garages full of boxes, or the real estate agents have had them put a lot of their belongings in boxes to unclutter the house. Or we used to have a lumberyard place where we would do collective sales. We can't do that at this moment, but that's where the storage unit sales come in. But as far as a client having both, that's usually not the case, or it's already there, or the family moved it already into the garage by that point. But people have a lot of stuff these days.
And somebody's making a lot of money storing that stuff.
Right? I know, we're in the wrong business.
Storing this stuff, not selling this stuff.
So yep. I've noticed that some of the estate sales that, like you were talking about, dishes and the more old school collectibles aren't really getting high prices anymore. Why do you think that is? Because those used to be kind of in high demand, especially the full china sets and things like that.
I think it's a generational thing. Our parents, they valued collectibles. They valued the prettier stuff, the stuff that maybe was handed down to them, had more value to them. Things are very replaceable these days, and people have so much that their views of things and collectibles and the pretty stuff kind of has changed. And we got rid of china cabinets in China and fancy glassware. Unless it's Christmas. So it's just a generational thing, I think, but you can see things coming back sometimes, like teacups. Teacups are making a comeback.
Are they really?
Weddings. Yeah. Some people are using those for weddings. China, I hope, makes a comeback because there's so many nice and beautiful sets out there, but they're not getting bought like they used to. So it's a generational thing, I think.
Well, we have a more casual lifestyle, but I'm also kind of curious, what are the younger folks collecting then? If not that a younger person would be doing an estate sale, but if they were, like, what are you seeing different in their households?
A lot of books, some of your older, cool, just more, it's more of an interest in particular things to like, that's individual. It's not necessarily like everybody used to be into Hummels or that sort of thing. Now it's just some really, it really depends, like some of the old paperwork that men use, that things that you just don't see anymore, the things that are really odd to us because things used to have so much more character and so much more time was put into them making them as compared to today. Mid-century modern is a big one with younger people.
Like, so does anybody buy telephones, like the old dial telephones?
Yeah, they're actually pretty cool, and I don't see why they don't sell more often. But yeah, and actually more so than those are just the old, just the retro. They're more vintage age telephones that you just pick up and dial. Because if my children, I know if they were to see it and they have at a sale, they pick it up and they go, "What is this, Mom?" What are you talking about? What do you do with it? Like,
oh my gosh.
Cherish, how about clothes? I heard clothes are always a big seller. Is that true?
It is, depending on brand and quality, but the higher end quality or just the good clothes, we can actually put a decent price on it, and people are surprised about what they can get out of their clothes. It's a good seller because clothes are so expensive brand new at the store. So if someone can come to an estate sale and get this great shirt that costs $90 at Macy's for, $10, it's people are on board with that.
Yeah, that's surprising, but that's good. That's good. And what about artwork?
Art.
Thomas Kincaid, things like that. Do people still collect and sell those?
A bit, not nearly as much as they used to. It would be more so some of we take so many pictures of things and we find that right buyer for most items because we're advertising it like it's the most special thing in the world and you want this, but we do find that right buyer. But as far as popularity, like things like Thomas Kincaid and stuff are not what they used to be.
That's interesting. So if somebody wanted to get a hold of you, Cherish, at Tucker Estate Sales, how would they reach you?
They can get a hold of us at our phone number, which is 541-324-8570, or they can like us on Facebook. That will let you know about all the sales that are coming up. And also on estatesales.net, we have a page.
So on Facebook, what's your Facebook page called?
Tucker Estate Sales.
Okay, well, that's pretty easy. Tucker Estate Sales. So like it on Facebook, estatesales.net. That sounds like an awesome website. I'm going to check that out. And then if somebody wants to have you come in, but they're not ready to do something till maybe next year, like if they're being smart and planning ahead, what would be the best time of year to get a hold of you so that, they can get some time and attention?
Yeah, and that happens a lot. So we know of a couple sales coming up that could be in a year or two, but there's some great sales that we already know about them. We know they're coming. So it happens. And any length of time, as long as we're given at least a couple months out, you're guaranteed a spot, like at least 3 or 4 months, we can guarantee you a spot. But
that's good.
Right now,
it's never too early.
Yeah.
It's never too early to plan on that stuff. Right, Pete? It was never too early.
Never too early. And I just would encourage people to seriously consider using an estate sale professional like Cherish and Tucker. It will make your life and this whole process a lot easier. And it's a team with your real estate broker to make this happen. And again, everyone's life will be easier. And I really encourage people to. I did it when I did it, and it was worth it. And I just encourage people to seriously consider doing that when the time comes.
So we're about out of time, folks. Thank you, Cherish Tucker, Tucker Estate Sales, Pete Belcastro, Alice Lima saying, have a fabulous Southern Oregon weekend. Bye now.